What is 30 too old for? 30 is too old to be worrying about what you're too old for. If it makes you happy, do it. I know people that are 70 that still rip dirt bikes around the woods, and you got people in this thread in their 30'S40s acting like they have one foot in the grave. Well, it's Reddit people, they probably do. Vitamin D deficiency can get pretty serious. Mind games and poor communication. Sleeping wrong. Not much, it might not feel like it right now, but the world is your oyster at 30. I agree. You're still young, but you finally have enough knowledge of self to make wiser decisions, and confidence enough to not put up with bullshit. At least that's what it's been like for me. I feel like I didn't start living life until I was like 28. 27 Checking in. Life really begins in your late 20s for most people in my experience. Everything else was the tutorial. This is also the time when your prefrontal cortex fully matures. Kinda makes sense that up until this age life feels like practice. Sneaking up on someone. I was just trying to sneak up to my wife who had fallen asleep in her chair, and the sound of my knees popping blew my cover. My husband tried to sneak up on me earlier this week. He got an extremely loud, important phone call from a client while crawling on the floor like a ninja. Judging people for what they enjoy at an older age. I rarely cringe anymore, I just like seeing someone happy and being themselves and unabashedly feeling joy. I don't need to get it. Joy should be encouraged, it's hard to find for many for us. I teach young elementary, and I really hate it when a kid goes, "Don't like that show movie. That's for babies." This scenario happened to my daughter. She loved Paw Patrol for years. One day at school last year, it was bring your favorite book to class day. She brought her favorite Paw Patrol book. Well, some jerk kid told her it was for babies. She was crushed and hated Paw Patrol from that day on. We, of course, told her it doesn't matter what other people think, blah blah blah, but to kids, the only opinion that matters is that of their peers. Perhaps you can take comfort in this quote from C.S. Lewis. I've highlighted the comforting part. It's all a part of the process. Smile. Critics who treat adult as a term of approval, instead of as a merely descriptive term, cannot be adult themselves. To be concerned about being grown up, to admire the grown up because it is grown up, to blush at the suspicion of being childish, these things are the marks of childhood and adolescence. And in childhood and adolescence they are, in moderation, healthy symptoms. Young things ought to want to grow. But to carry on into middle life or even into early manhood, this concern about being adult is a mark of really arrested development. When I was 10, I read fairy tales in secret and would have been ashamed if I had been found doing so. Now that I am 50, I read them openly. When I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up. 32 and realizing I have no concept of current slang terms whatsoever. Dost thou not chillax with thine droogs? Ready for some of that ultra-violence. The old in-out in-out. People's bullshit that was tolerated when younger. Living your life for other people's happiness. High school style drama. Being on again, off again with an ex. Gossip. You would think that's the case, but between my neighborhood and workplace, Bowling for Soup had it right, high school never ends. To be fair, Bowling for Soup had a lot of things right. Not knowing basic survival skills and relying on someone to do it for you. E.g. cooking, laundry. Had a 34-year-old roommate who said he had started going to culinary school and dropped out. Obviously he didn't make it far because he didn't know how to preheat an oven he didn't previously own. You know, turning the knob to the desired setting because there was no bake setting. He always bought frozen foods and never ate any of it, just got fast food. Trying to piece together what sparked the motivation to attend culinary school with no knowledge of cooking. Edit. To those commenting about the guy bettering himself with a new skill, that's great. It's more taking on possibly over $100K in college debt for a skill you can begin to learn at home for free. And also the extremely brutal work conditions cook-chefs have to work with. Cooking is my favorite hobby and I've known a bunch of chefs in my life, so I guess I figured most people knew about the finer details. Nonsensical family members, blood can definitely be dud. My narcissist Mill is determined to insult and alienate me right when we just birthed her first grandchild. I'm too tired caring for a newborn and too tired of her bullshit. She's basically swan diving into chopping off her own nose to spite her face. She laments that she's not being asked to come stay and help with baby. On what planet would I expose my external heart, my child, to Mill when Mill is determined to destroy our relationship? She was and is an emotionally abusive mother to my spouse, and the trauma stops with my generation. Hell, she has no functioning relationship with any of her 3 siblings, and they couldn't even get their shit together to hold a service for their recently deceased mother. Mill can't bury her own mother and wants to lecture us on respect for her and her expectations as the new grandma? I'm 31 and too old to placate her anymore. I've flat out cut off family members before. Just know, you are not part of my life, and that was entirely your doing. Same. I flat out told my parents some years back I don't know about you, but I feel like we've interacted more than enough for one lifetime. Have a good one. I'm happier than I've ever been without their bullshit drama and toxic behavior. I'm getting there with my parents. This was refreshing seeing this. My parents are constantly bitching to my grandmother about how I never go over to visit them, I never call them, blah blah blah. It works both ways. I stopped talking to them. I have told them so many times that I ask them to come to my house or call me BC. It works both ways, and I'm still the bad guy, Idic anymore. I was always going out of my way to go over and visit, and their house isn't somewhere I can just relax either. But they haven't been to my apartment that's 20 minutes away the whole 3 years I've lived here. I talk to my grandmother once a week, and my dad gets mad about that too, like you're on your phone constantly, it wouldn't hurt to call me. So now I only see them on holidays and bitch them out when they don't invite me to my brother's stuff. Has 11 years younger than me, poor kid, so thanks for this, it affirms my attitude of continuing to not talk to them. BC, they can't be bothered to talk to me. Me who just turned 30 actively scrolling through here taking notes hoping to see that getting a college degree isn't listed. It is never, ever, ever too late to get a college degree. One of my classmates in community college was a woman from rural Afghanistan. When she'd arrived a few years earlier, she'd not only spoken no English, she'd never learned to read in any language. Her community kept no written records, so she wasn't exactly sure of her age, but she thought she was in her 60s. When she enrolled at the community college to learn English, she fell in love with school. She kept taking every class she could, and about 4 years later she was in calculus, physics, and computer science with me. Great student. Scary work ethic. Funny, too. I hope she kept going after I left. I'm going back to school now at 40 for my master's and a teaching license. Whenever I start thinking I'm too old to start over, I remember her. You're never too old to learn. Caring what people think. I wish this were universally true. Source, 33 Yo who still gives far too many ducks about what other people think of me. Few years older than you, but Teresa, significant drop in ducks you give right around where you at. Year by year fuck giving stock plummets more and more. One thing I've enjoyed getting older. It always heard that your 30s brings a lack of ducks. I just turned 29 and I can already feel the fucks peeling off me. Literally nothing fucking matters, so why waste any more time caring? It's great. Here is a message from you 2 years from now. You'll get a bit more responsibility and maturity, but you're probably still gonna the same kind of person overall. The good and bad. So figure out the bad and put active effort into sorting it out. Ain't no other way. I'm 32 and wondering if it's too late to learn how to skateboard or if it's cringe if I even try. I'm in the best shape of my life. Go for it, man. A 16-year-old girlfriend. Bending at the knees apparently. I regret waiting until being nearly 40 before taking up light stretches and yoga in the morning. It's made a huge difference in bending. 28 and just started doing this. With a work-from-home desk job and overall sedentary lifestyle, it's crazy how painfully tight everything is most of the time. Keep it up. Your joints will thank you in your 30s and 40s. Getting into a physical fight over words. That ends as soon as you graduate high school. Once you're no longer a student, it goes from physical altercation to aggravated assault.